it here.
Awesome. I'll just give it a moment for the stream to catch up, and then we will proceed. Cool. I see the popcorn now. Just going to refresh. Audio's loud and clear. Good stuff.
I
Say
think so.
something, Mark, if you want.
Hey! Hello, world.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit louder, but we both sound very clear, so this should be all right. Just going to refresh. Yeah, that's enough refreshing by me. Okay, so yeah, welcome everyone. I hope you guys are all having a great day. It's currently Tuesday, August 21st, and for today's stream, we will be having Mark work on a set of updated UI icons. So we got to see him do a little bit of this last Tuesday, but for those who are not around, pardon me, he's currently creating new pictures for use within player inventories and shop menus. So while it's not an integral task necessary for Module 1's launch, we are having some of the art guys update more of the game's look while we wait for the programming to finish. Mark has shown to make some wicked graphics for us in the past, and it's great that we have him overhauling some of our older icons. So, yeah, I guess, Mark, just to begin, if you wanted to scroll through some of them that you've completed, it would be kind of cool to see.
All right. So if you had joined us last Tuesday, we were working on a few of these icons, so you may have seen some of them before, but there's a bunch that we've done since then, along with a bunch of other stuff that we were working on. So I didn't get too many done, but there's a bunch here now. So we did a couple for the cinema. We got the popcorn,
Hey,
and we've got this soft drink, the soft drink to go with your popcorn. And we got the movie ticket.
I love that soft drink one.
So those are kind of ones you see around the cinema area. Then we got kind of this generic book. There may be a couple of book type of things that you might see. We have a generic one for weaponry. Right now it's set as a handgun, but I'm sure there'll be a lot more weapon icons in the future. For right now, we just have the one handgun, which is kind of neat. And then we did. We're currently working on a lot of the drugs and alcohol icons. So uh, we have the main drugs one, which we started last week, and there is the finish version of the main drugs, kind of
Wow.
all together.
Yeah, I really like how that one turned out. We got to see a bit of an earlier version of that last Tuesday.
And so then, if you just we have one just for marijuana and one for just pill popping.
Pill popping.
Pill popping, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, there it
Uh,
is.
and we've got the crack pipe icon for the crack pipe, and uh,
Interesting.
we have cigarettes as
Dang, there's a
well.
lot of drug icons.
Yeah, there's gonna be more. Cigarettes. We have some meth, a little bag of meth.
Huh, that's a
Uh,
lot, dude.
and we have some alcohol related ones. We got um, so we have wine,
Ah, that's a good one.
and we have uh, this one just kind of represents liquor altogether, which would just a little martini with an olive twist and a
I like the olive, yeah.
sword swivel stick thing, and uh, and then one for beer, and
Excellent.
and then I've got couple more drugs to do, so I'm gonna be doing a cigar and a syringe of sorts.
Excellent. Yeah, these icons look
So,
really good so far, dude.
uh,
Um, just to clarify, you're looking at these icons in a hot red and a hot green right now. They're those really bright, vivid colors because we can easily tweak the RGB values in the game. Right now, the style is currently the black and the white, like how you see on the identity logo. So it's
yeah,
pretty much there's a uniform consistency mark made where there's like one part of the item is bright and then the other part is a hard shadow just to coincide with how our logo is. So these will not be green and red in the game. Do
no,
not worry.
no. They will look more like this, I guess. We'll just do a quick.
Would
Oh,
it actually be
cool.
possible for you to upload one to the engine and show what it would look like on a piece of clothing or something?
Uh, maybe.
I mean,
I don't.
I know these aren't made for clothing, but they work the same way, right?
It would look more like that in the game. Uh,
Ah, nice.
do I? Well, let's. I don't have the engine open.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
That's all right.
we
But yeah,
can.
Motown, our art director, managed to sneak in here. How's it going, man?
Hey guys.
Uh,
So this is one of the founders of Identity. If you guys didn't know, he and John kind of were there since the very beginning, and yeah, he's a master of all things art. He handles all of the art tasks, assigns them, makes sure people are doing what they're supposed to be doing in the art world, and of course, he has assigned Mark the icon task, which is pretty cool. Um,
so we can. This is sort of give you an idea of what it might look like in the engine. These are some of the ones that need to be updated. So, but you can sort of get the idea of how it might look in the
ah,
engine. So,
yeah, it'll be a very nice update for the UI that we have. That's for sure.
um, yeah, I don't think I have any other screenshots with anything completed. Um, I mean, here's all the clothing from before, so you can see that how it looks when it's black and white instead of gray. Or these are some
Ah,
of the
yeah.
other icons, so you can see how it looks instead of green and red. So,
Mhm.
uh, and then we had all the emotes and stuff, furniture icons. We had all those as well. So
Yeah, I remember you doing those a few months ago. You're really good at keeping the whole like uniform consistency with the black and the white, like the sharp, hard contrast. It looks really good.
so that's sort of where we're at. And
Cool. Yeah, so very good stuff, Mark. Thanks for showing us some of your icons. It's always cool to see. The one you're working on currently is going to be a cigar, you said maybe, or
yeah, I'm gonna sort of morph this cigarette into a cigar, I think. We'll see how that works.
cool. Good, good. Yeah, where was I before we got to see all that stuff? So I did mention the programming for a second. So regarding the final programming task, for those of you who do not know, it involves making the UI play nicely with the housing system. The integration between the two has caused some bugs to pop up that the developers are still working hard to rectify. The code behind the housing system is rather complex, and every tweak we make to the UI to function as intended usually requires us to run through most of the system again in game to make sure that nothing went wrong anywhere. The developers are working hard to make sure it's good to go, and I'll update the community on the matter where I can. Regarding, I'm just going through like housekeeping items. The next Identity Insider, John is actually currently in the process of writing it. As mentioned in the previous devlog, it'll focus more on criminal activity and gameplay, that kind of area. And you might see it go up tonight. If not, then likely tomorrow morning. Once the insider is out, we'll get a deblog out a day or two after. We definitely apologize for the wait. There's just been so much focus on Town Square that it's been hard to find time for media. John has been also dedicating time helping out the web developer with some things too, so he's been unbelievably busy. On that note, if anyone is encountering a few oddities with the website, feel free to message me, Beach Ball, either on the forums or on Discord, and I'll be sure to get around to responding to you soon. I've been drowning in DMs, but that's okay. It's been fun. It's been a fun few weeks. I'll probably be staying late too, so after the stream, if there's any issues, feel free to contact me. And I'll see what I can do for you. We also had a few new pieces of clothing go up on Twitter today. Uma made a V-neck T-shirt and some beach shorts. Two very nice pieces. If you haven't had a chance to check those out yet, feel free to follow the link below. I'll grab it in just a moment. That should link you. I'd also like to say congratulations to the previous streams giveaway winners once again. If any of you are here, you should have your items appended to your accounts. That was a super nice thing for one of our Twitch mods, James, to do for the community, and perhaps we'll see more giveaways in the future too. It's always fun. And I think that's about it for introductory items. As per usual, we'll try to answer questions you, the viewers, might have. Um, Definitely Motown can help lend a hand in the art aspect of identity, that's for sure. And if there's anything we can't really answer off the top of our heads, we can write down your questions and I'll try and ask the devs between the streams to get you answers for the next one. So yeah, that's about it for introductory stuff. I hope you guys are all having an excellent Tuesday. It's a gloomy, rainy one over here, but we're inside staying warm and dry. So here we have. I already see this like oval-esque shape you're doing here, Mark. I guess it's gonna be one of those like thick cigars.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
we'll make it into something.
The curve
Uh,
tool is always fascinating to me.
I guess yeah, I'm a slightly ahead of you, I guess, in time. So
Yeah, sorry.
if I'm explaining something, you might not see what it is. So I'll just not say anything.
No, it's about like a 5 to 6 second delay, I'd say,
So
usually.
just to clarify, he is making a cigar, not a turd.
Oh, you're getting a lot of people commenting like "nice turd."
uh,
Well, I didn't.
nah,
That came to my head. I'm not sure anybody said that.
It will look
Motown.
like. Hopefully, it'll look like a good a cigar by,
I'm
by the end of it. If not, we'll just label it as turd. Maybe you have to have one of those icons too.
right. We're gonna need one for sure.
I need a turd icon.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, let me skim through the Twitch chat. I'll hop in here and I'll try and answer any questions I see. Uh, Here's one. How long will the prices on the shop stay as they are? Well, the original idea was to take away the packages a week after the new shop was up, but as you guys can very clearly see, they're all still there with the same prices and contents as they were on the previous shop page. Actually, some packages had a few more items appended to them, so that's pretty cool. But we'll be able to give you guys a more concrete answer as to when they will be disappearing once we can get more payment options on the store, because that's kind of what we were thinking of when we initially made that plan. We definitely don't want to change the prices before the people who are already ready to pay. They just don't have PayPal. We don't want to change it because it just seems unfair. So we'll be able to give you guys, a more specific date or more information when we get more payment options implemented. Right now, currently it's PayPal. But very good question. Uh, yeah, it's really pouring outside. Oh my. Scrolling through the chat. But yeah. What has been keeping you busy today, Motown, if you don't mind me poking and prodding?
Oh, a lot of little fixes like pivot point on pieces of hairs and other objects within the engine. Having to bring
Cool.
those back into 3D Studio Max, make adjustments to them, and re-import them to the engine. Little things like that. Just make it.
Nice.
It's a little polish stuff, So
Yeah, I saw you were working on the Insider briefly earlier with John. Can we get any sneak peeks or tips
uh,
or, well, not tips, but, pointers, what we
well,
might expect?
it'll be about criminal and gang warfare and stuff like that. Criminal activity,
Ooh,
gang warfare.
gang warfare sounds neat. Yeah,
Yeah, he's working on that right now, so I don't know exactly when he's going to put it out, but usually uh, this is a good sign when he's really sticking to it, and
Oh, it should be an interesting read. I'm pretty excited.
so it should be soon, very soon.
But yeah, so far this cigar is really coming along. It looks like a big honking cigarette almost. But
We'll get there.
sorry, I love commenting on your work. It's just really cool seeing how you do this. Very fascinating. Um, I actually had Motown a few questions earlier today from the Discord. Just a few. I was wondering if you could help answer them. They're pertaining to kind of like neighborhood stuff, if you're willing to give them a crack. Um, one user was wondering how large the towns between cities will be in the full game of Identity.
Well, they
Like,
won't be as big as the three major cities, but they will be. I mean, yeah, keep in mind we have to fill up a lot of land space for housing, so you can imagine that those towns will have quite a lot of housing real estate. You can expect something like a suburban neighborhood to be mm, the size of a single small town outside of the city.
ah, so I mean, we're not talking maybe 5 to 10 houses between cities. We're
No,
talking pretty
no.
extensive.
But yeah, we're talking about like maybe a group of 100 houses in one neighborhood, perhaps. That would be nice.
It's pretty nice, dude. Speaking of houses, is there a limit to how many houses a player can own? I feel I've asked you this before.
Mm,
I don't quite recall the
I
response.
think we settled on one house, but you could have multiple apartments.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. One house, multiple apartments. Jotting that down.
Multiple as in like pretty much infinite, because we can,
Yeah.
the apartments don't take up land mass, and so
There will always be an endless number of apartments you can
yeah,
choose from. Houses, on the other hand, are on the server land, and when that particular house that you're looking at has been purchased, it's theirs. You can't just walk in and get it. So
Kind of makes for a first come first served basis, really.
absolutely.
yeah, it certainly makes the houses far more valuable in that regard. They're special in that
Yeah,
way.
and you could probably rent out houses too, right?
Oh, yes.
So like if you aren't able to buy one yourself, you could probably rent one from another player.
hmm Yeah. Last I checked with you, it was you can rent out houses, but not apartments.
That's
That's where
right.
we
Yeah.
stood. Cool. This is another one that someone asked me earlier today. And then we'll hop back into the Twitch chat. But did you see NVIDIA's new press conference, Motown? Did you see the new graphics cards?
I heard about them. I haven't really looked into it myself, but I know like we've had a few questions about like ray tracing and stuff like
Mm.
that. And before you ask that question, I'll answer it right now.
Sure, yeah.
No, we won't be supporting ray tracing. If it's something that requires like additional effort to like support,
hmm
we don't want to commit to something like that, because like if it's
No, I hear you. I'm just happy we finally get new GPUs. The last cycle has
yeah,
been for 2 years, man. I can finally afford a graphics card, maybe.
the
You
price
know, for
points
once.
yeah,
Yeah, buy used.
maybe absolutely, maybe that'll like reduce the cost of current graphics cards, because those new ones are pretty pricey, it looks like.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Uh, but yeah, how are you guys doing today? Oh, someone asking to show what the game currently looks like. We actually have two previous gameplay streams that we did. I can summon them for you in just a quick sec. And the next endeavor we will be going on is trying to get up a video that will kind of cover the features you'll see in Town Square. I was mentioned at the end of the previous gameplay stream, and no date for that yet, but it's something that we would definitely like to have on our Steam page because it's just good to have more media. We can't wait to get kind of like a feature video up. So, but yeah, I will grab you the most recent gameplay stream if you want to check it out. And there we go. Cool. We're not opposed to doing another gameplay stream in the future, but I think right now the next time you'll see footage will be uh, in video format, not on live stream. Ooh, someone asking, can you build your own house wherever you want, or do you have to find a pre-built one? Just wondering. You will have to find, if we're talking houses, one already on the server land. You won't be able to customly build one up from scratch. It's mostly due to resource usage within the game.
Yeah,
If people could spawn things wherever and houses wherever, it would be very taxing syncing that up with all of the other players.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. We would have to basically like clear out the unused houses after months, and like we just don't want to get into that. So yeah, you'll have to purchase property that already exists on the land.
yeah. Regarding apartments, though, Motown, I like to check up on this every now and then. Um, let's say, the luxury one-bedroom apartment, if I have that, am I confined to a particular zone in the full game, or can I kind of choose where that apartment appears?
I think right currently in our design documents, the apartments have a physical location that each one will be placed in the map. Um,
Cool.
and they'll be
Nice.
in pretty prime locations.
Yeah, and I would assume the luxurious ones will be in more like upkept areas in the world
Yeah,
map. And
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So you'll notice that when you get into the town square and you're able to access your apartment, you may notice that your apartment doesn't quite fit the building that it's placed inside of in the town square. And the reason for that is because that apartment isn't designed for that building layout. So to compensate, we have to kind of make the apartment. We have to just kind of squeeze it in however we can to try to make it look as appropriate as it can.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, you'll notice that like you might be hovering over top of the center of the town square in like some of the bigger apartments.
yeah. Basically, for module one, you will be able to access any apartment you own within the same building. Just for size constraints. In the full game, there
Yes.
will be specific
They'll be placed in different
areas.
buildings that are designed specifically for those apartments.
Awesome. Very nice. We have someone here asking about being able to import custom logos or designs. This is actually very pertinent to our brand new shop page. So we do have an item currently called custom t-shirt graphic, and this will allow you to import like an image off of your computer onto the front of a t-shirt 10, in fact, in the full game. The reason why it's a shop item is that we have to allocate resources for storing your custom image, and when a lot of people have their own custom content in the game, it can get a little bit taxing in some areas. But yeah, that might be right up your alley. In terms of custom logos, we did originally have an item up there, but we weren't exactly too descriptive. We kind of made it seem like it was both for corporations and t-shirts. So the gist of it is that we did have a custom logo item that allowed you to import your own image for corporate logos. We might see that return, but for now we just have the custom t-shirt graphic up on the shop that will once again, when you're crafting shirts in the full game, you'll be able to import your own image on up to 10 t-shirts, which is pretty cool. It's going to be interesting to see what people bring into the game through that. Uh, but yeah, this cigars are looking pretty nice, dude. I like you have the little label section there in the middle.
Mhm.
Good stuff, good stuff. Yes, Motown is here in the chat today. It's
Yep.
nice to have him. It means a lot, dude, when the founders can show up and discuss stuff, because I know you are absolutely swamped with work in this final crunch for Town Square. So we really appreciate having you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, is it supported for PC? Identity, yes, will be definitely on PC. In
Yeah.
terms of a console port, uh, we can't commit to anything right now. We would love for that to be a possibility in the future, but right now we're just exclusively focused on getting Identity up and running for the PC platform. For those of you who like to use controllers, though, we will be working to make sure Identity plays nicely with controller layouts. It's one of the reasons why we're going for radial menu designs insofar as the emote wheel goes. If you guys have seen that previously, it's like kind of like the Overwatch wheel where you just kind of use your stick to select which one you want, because scrolling through menus on a controller isn't too much fun. But we're definitely trying to make it play nice with the controllers. So even Town Square will have some controller functionality too, if you just prefer to use a USB controller. And yeah, thank you guys for showing up today and also helping answer questions. You guys rock. As well, to the moderators, I always like throwing out a shout out for them. I see Lightbringers in here now. Thanks so much for doing what you do. Awesome stuff. Uh, one moment. I just want to hop on over to the module page on our website. Yes. So someone here is asking, when do you think the the last updated on the tracker will be fixed? Basically, one of the oddities we ran into when the new site went up was that it wasn't actually updating the information. You'll actually see really old forum posts by me on the front page. I posted far more than that in the present. Same with, I believe John's been fairly active on the forum. So we should be seeing those get updated. It's pointing to a static value right now, I believe, but it's going to be corrected shortly, maybe in the next website update we get. But good question, because it has been stuck at 2 days for a while now. We are looking to rectify that, and that's pretty interesting what you're doing there, Mark. Kind of
Uh,
looks like seaweed.
we'll get to that. It's it'll get there.
It's cool, dude. I love seeing people make stuff out of nothing. It's awesome. Cool though. Good question. Yes, someone asking about NPCs. I believe you guys have already answered it, but just to go over, um, NPCs will be very limited in their usage and identity, mostly because we want to populate the world with basically players. In the full game, we will have some pretty big open worlds. Currently, we're looking at aiming for somewhere between 300 and 500 concurrent players per server. We still need to do some testing to see which values work the best for the max player count, but it's going to be big, and we want to populate it with primarily players. You will see NPCs doing some stuff, for example, in shops, just being able to be vendors for you guys. And I believe there will also be some, there's just people to get information from when you're like going to write your gun license or something like that. You'll need someone to interact with. But yeah, for the most part, NPCs will be pretty scarce. It's also cool because it means that people you encounter on the street or driving, really just anywhere in the world that's not in like a shop or things like that, you'll be running into people with actual histories behind them, real players, and it's going to be pretty cool to see what sort of interactions spawn out of that. Oh, will you be able to replace an NPC vendor for a certain time if you want to? You won't be able to physically take their spot in the store, but if you want to handle transactions manually, just because you want to RP as that, or you just find it fun, by all means, feel free to, if you own a storefront in the full game, feel free to welcome people into your shop and show them what's around. That's actually pretty cool. Oh, I don't remember this one. Motown, would you happen to recall if there are seat belts for cars, if that's a necessary thing?
Yes, there is.
Oh,
You will need to put on your seatbelt in the car, or you risk bodily injury when you crash.
nice. Yeah, I think I might have asked that like way back in October, November, but that's pretty cool. And I assume it'll just be a button press,
Uh, yeah, exactly.
something
It's
simple.
not nothing complicated. Yeah, I mean, like you don't want you don't want to go flying out the front windshield when you collide into another person, do you?
I mean, some people might, but at least we have the option. Thank you. John's laughing at that comment.
I would say a lot of people would probably want to go flying out of the window,
Yeah, I stand corrected. A lot of people want to go flying out the window.
but
Yeah. Ooh, someone asking about how the jail system works. So for very minor crimes, like not wanting to pay a speeding ticket or things like that, there is a jail in the game. There's actually a few, well, many, I suppose, depending on how many police stations there are. But jail will last for a very short amount of time, I think around 5 minutes, and you'll be confined to the small little area where, well, you'll just be stuck with not much to do. But for major crimes that you've committed, like murder, there will be a prison system, and I think the max prison sentence we will have on official servers, at least the one that we're looking at currently, is 45 minutes. So in prison, it's a wide open space. You can actually walk around and do things in. I believe at Motown there is the whole gang sort of system in there. If you wanted to talk a bit about activities in the
Yeah,
prison.
absolutely. So when you get sent to prison, you can decide to just hang out in the common area and wait out your sentence, or um, call your lawyer and or set up a trial. Um, and or you could go join a prison gang and fight for territory within the prison yard.
Dang, that sounds cool.
There
About
are, yeah, there's three
oh,
factions of gangs in the prison, so you're not actually like joining your player gang when you go to prison. I mean, you and your buddies from your player gang can join a faction together and all be in the same fight together against your enemies. But
hmm. So yeah, combat within prisons, I assume it's going to be more like using knives and things like that. I don't think people would
yes, it's
have
not going to
access to
be
guns.
not really firearms, but hand to
sh-
hand combat.
shivs made out of toothbrushes and
That's right.
stuff like that.
Cool. And once again, that'll be for more major crimes getting sent to prison. I also really like what you're doing here, Mark, with I mean, that shape earlier looked like it was some of those, those like plastic rings around cans.
Yep.
It kind of looked like that, and you made it look like a puff of smoke. That's cool.
Uh, yeah.
It's a beautiful puff of smoke.
We're getting there.
Excellent. Once again, thank you to those in chat helping answer questions. You guys rock. Just scrolling down. I always let the chat go up too far. I apologize. I'm slow as molasses sometimes. Uh, but yeah. Ooh, someone asking about a criminal record. One moment.
What was the
Because
question?
about criminal records, I know we've discussed this in the past. I'm just going to search for a clip, but if you have any knowledge to drop on us, Motown, about
Yeah,
the.
John. Well, honestly, John would probably know a little more about that than I would. But as
Mhm.
far as I know, you will have a criminal record in the game. It'll persist for some time. We haven't really discussed exactly if your it'll affect your, like John just mentioned, it'll control your ability to join the police force. If you have a really extensive criminal record, you'll have trouble joining the police. Um, but of course, yeah, that's it's a temporary effect. You're not going to be permanently locked out from the police force because of your criminal record. Um, the items on your record, they do expire over time, so it's not going to be on your record forever. Like people aren't going to like look up pull you over, look up your record, and see that you committed a crime 2 years ago in real
Mhm.
life in the game,
Cool.
real world time in the game.
Mhm. Uh, this is an amusing one. I don't think we've covered this in the past. So, in Identity in the full game, there will be illegal weapons like the AK-47. If those are on you, you can just be arrested because it's extremely dangerous. You can't get away with having a gun license in that. Like, it won't cover that. So, there will be certain dangerous weapons that are just not safe to like carry on you. Of course, they will be powerful, and in the right hands, you might be able to get one going for perhaps a bank heist or something of that sort. But someone is wondering if there will be street illegal vehicles, if there are vehicles that are actually deemed unsafe or too fast or
Mm,
criminal-esque.
no, there's not really like illegal vehicles in the game,
All right.
except for maybe the mobile meth lab.
All right, fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah. John's just speaking with Motown for a second. Cool. Um, Someone is asking if there will be prison guards. Uh, from what I recall, there actually won't be any people stationed to just watch and wait to make sure people don't break out. Um,
There are not player prison guards. Obviously, cops. Yeah, you can go hang out at the prison and watch them if you want to. If you're a police officer, but the police response only occurs when people attempt to break out of prison. And those responding officers are kind of like the prison guards fighting back the prisoners.
yeah, cool, cool. Someone here asking what movies will be in the theater. Well, in Town Square, we have access to some public domain movies. You might have seen, I believe, one of them when we walked in to the theater, or the cinema, I should say, the last gameplay stream, which is pretty cool. Basically, public domain movies are any that are essentially just free to use without any copyright restrictions on them, which is neat. In the full game, there will be some theaters where you can actually go into and just watch YouTube videos on, I do believe, which is going to be pretty cool. But right now, if you're asking about like official in terms of like actual movie stuff, it's going to be a good selection from some older stuff, just so there are no rights really protecting their usage. Um, Perhaps in the future, if indie movie makers want to approach us, maybe we could get something going like that. But right now, we're just kind of focused on things that are rather easily accessible to us.
Public domain and royalty
Mhm.
free movies.
Yeah, that was a good cigar, Mark. Very nice. What are we moving on to here?
A syringe.
Ooh, syringe. What drug does that involve?
Ones you take with syringes.
Heroin.
The ones you take with syringes, I guess.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice. Cool. So yeah, it is about 4:40 already. I don't know where time flies. We got about 20 minutes left to go. Of course, we like to stream every Tuesday and Thursday from 4 to 5. I talked with Jade earlier today. We'll definitely have him on for Thursday, which is nice. And yeah, we will continue to answer questions where we can. Scrolling through the chat here. Yeah, I am definitely behind there. Sorry. One question asking, will there be security cameras that you can put in your house? Not currently. We did want to do some experimenting with security cameras in the past, but because players cannot actually enter your house without your permission or your apartment, there's really not much of a need for them at the moment. It is a cool idea, though, that's for sure. But basically, your apartment or your house, basically your player-owned residence, you need to enable people to come in, um, which is cool. So you're always safe in those areas. Don't have to worry about people barging in. When you die, will you be required to make a new person? No, actually, there isn't. There's no current plans for permadeath. Um, it might be an option we can explore to allow people to use in private servers, but at the very least, for official servers, if you die, you will be able to respawn eventually at your last, how do you say it, Motown? Your last bound location, last bind location.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that could be your apartment or house or city that you were in last before you ended up wherever you died.
Nice, nice, yeah. Good to be able to have a choice of where to respawn. Once again, in Town Square, there won't be any sort of violence, so you won't have to worry about stuff like that. We will eventually open up the shooting range in the basement of the police department or the police station, which will be pretty cool. You'll be able to try out some guns there. But for its launch, there won't be any sort of thing regarding shooting or conflict like that. Yeah. The syringe is really starting to take shape already. You can kind of tell what it's going to turn into. Very nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit stubby based on our limited amount of size. So.
That's fine. As long as it looks intuitive, like I can already tell this is a syringe.
It does look very syringe-like.
Yeah, just scrolling through. Hmm. This one's kind of interesting, but I believe the answer is no. Motown, if you can confirm, in the full game, would it be possible to somehow start up your own car rental thing where you kind of like let users take
Um,
cars from you for
well,
a certain
there's
fee?
not like a mechanic in the game to support you renting out cars to other players, but certainly you can um,
Maybe
do
lend your
things.
key?
Sure, you can you can lend out your personally owned vehicles to other players, I suppose, and demand that they pay you a fee for the time that they are using.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. It'd definitely be good to have a fairly large garage if you wanted to go into that kind of venture, but nice. It would be very interesting to see some users try out that's well, try that sort of shot at the business, you know. Uh, someone asking about cooking. So basically, how it'll work is you're pretty much combining ingredients together at like a specific cooking station, whether it be in your kitchen or somewhere in the world. It won't be super complicated. There will be recipes you can follow, I do believe, Motown. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. It shouldn't be too complicated.
Yeah, you can own a restaurant and craft different foods and sell those foods that you craft at your restaurant, or just do it at home and eat the food that you make at home, or or give it to your other friends that are playing with.
Nice. And some player crafted food will have effects, perhaps, I think, like some small
Yes.
bonuses. Hmm.
Still deciding what those bonuses will be. We don't want to do anything that's going to be. We don't want to make food seem like a requirement every time you go out and um, try to do an activity like okay,
Yeah.
pop your buffs, everybody, like you would in World of Warcraft raid.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be like that. We want you to be able to just get into the game, have fun whenever and wherever, and not be forced to like prepare extensively ahead of time to get into an engagement. Outside of reason, of course. If you're gonna rob a bank, then you should
Might
probably
need to prepare.
prepare the kind of weapons that you're gonna use. Get all the supplies, medical supplies you'd use with your buddies and stuff like within reason. That's what we're talking.
Nice. Yeah, syringe looking good. Another question here. We have. Oh, what about dogs? Will we be able to get pets? Yeah, we actually talked about this, I believe, a few streams ago with Motown. Might have been the last one Mark was on, actually. We definitely have a shop page up that you can now purchase pets from. They won't be available. I mean, you can't play the game right now, but they will be accessible in Town Square at some point. Um, and yeah, I believe we have a pug up there and a Shiba.
Yeah, a few different dogs and cats available, and at first they'll just roam around your apartment or house, but we would like to expand that system in the future and allow them out of the house and follow you around into the world, so you can do activities like go hunting with your dog or use it as a canine unit. Um,
Wow,
as a police officer, depending on the breed, it'd be kind of funny to see
for
like a
sure.
Chihuahua canine.
Wouldn't want one of those defending
But
you, but hey.
Hello, guys.
Hey, we actually have Mr. CEO himself hopping in. How's it going, John?
Good. Can you hear me okay? I'm not on my normal computer, so
It's a little bit quiet,
it's
but you're
quiet.
audible. But yes, you've just been working on the Insider, I do hear. Any word if we can receive that soon?
it won't be today, but it will 100% be tomorrow, probably early to afternoon. It's not going to be too late tomorrow.
Awesome.
It's 80% done right now. So
Cool.
it's a pretty interesting write up, though. If anyone is really into the PvP side of things, it's going to be a pretty interesting insider. What we're doing, we're kind of shifting things a little bit with this one. I talked about it a little in the last dev blog, which, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
is also going to be coming very, very soon for you guys.
Nice.
But yeah, pretty much immediately after this goes out. Well, not immediately, but very soon
Like
after.
yeah.
Yeah, like next day. So yeah, like we're kind of changing up a bit. Basically, what we want to do is we want to use our new website to show a lot more information in detail about the game. So the same kind of things, like that we talk about on these streams. Like I sitting right
Yeah,
between sitting right
Mm-hmm.
between Sean and Brandon right now, so I'm hearing it all. But we want to do like these kind of like smaller insiders that have really detailed information and do them on a regular basis, like
right.
like a few a month.
Exactly. Yeah, we realize that our website doesn't really explain exactly what the game is about, and that's something that we're truly lacking on those pages. So we will be filling out that information so people can have a more complete picture of what identity is exactly. So there's no more
Yeah,
guessing.
I mean, I think probably a lot of people, even in this channel right now. Actually, I don't have a stream up. I don't know how many are listening, but I bet you a very large amount of these people don't even really know just how freaking awesome the identity game is. I mean,
Right. Yeah. Like
stuff we're doing is incredible here.
we often just talk about the same like features over and over again, and there's so much more to the game that we don't get a chance to talk about as often, and those are the kind of things that we want to go into more extensive detail over so you can have a better understanding of exactly what our vision is for identity.
Wow. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of information. It's certainly a pretty large game. If you guys have tuned in for almost every stream, there's so many different topics to cover. And yeah, so we'll be hearing criminal activity, or is it like gang warfare, Paratus? Kind of.
Yeah, this one this week is gangs and war, or I think it's actually titled Gangs and Warfare. That's what
Yeah.
Okay,
so
close enough.
it is gangs. See, gangs are a social group like a corporation. There's several different kinds of social groups that you can create, but a gang has obviously criminal activity at the
Yeah.
heart of it.
Yeah, think of gangs as an illegal corporation, whereas corporations are like the legal side of gangs. Like where, and they're separate entities entirely. You could be in both at the same time.
Yeah.
You could be in a gang, and you can also be in a corporation.
And on top of that, there's actually like these social groups too, but they're a little more broad. There are some benefits to them, but they don't have the real control and the gameplay features that are waiting here. So like to give you an idea, there's different kinds of content. Like if we're just talking crime on its own, there's a lot of criminal activity that can be done without a gang. Robbing a
Hmm.
bank, for example, does not require a gang. It will require some friends, and there's some illegal activities like that that you can do even solo. So different ones will require different size groups. But then above that, if you're used to MMOs of old, you might think of these as like the raid events. These are the big ones, and those will require sometimes a gang. So gangs have their own kind of content in addition to the regular group criminal activity kind of thing. And
Nice.
it's really cool. Like there's a lot of stuff there. We want gangs to build make a name for themselves and actually gain infamy. You want the top gangs to be known on that server. Like this, and they'll control it. The gangs have an element of control.
Dang. Yeah, this write-up is sounding exciting. I can't wait to see it. Good stuff. And yeah, we're at 4:52. We got about 8 minutes left before we begin to wrap up. We'll take a few more questions from the chat. Yeah, just going back to pets for a second. What sort of pets will be available to get in game without the shop? And will there be any exclusive ones just solely for in game and solely for the shop?
There will be exclusives, but um, really, there's not going to be different kinds of pets that you can only get on the shop versus in game. There's different cosmetic variations of the same thing. For
Yeah.
example, like if you get a dog, you can get dogs in the game, you can get dogs on the shop. They might be different breeds. That's the difference. Or in
Okay.
some cases, we might even be just talking color variations or something, but they're cosmetically different, but the
Fur patterns
functionality is
and
the same. Yeah, exactly. And that goes across the board. Like, I don't know if you guys are all aware on here, but things on the shop right now are temporary. Like stuff like cash, when you see cash in those
Yeah,
packages,
that's
yeah,
going away.
the reason you can't buy cash on its own, you have to get in a package, is because they're legacy items from the
yeah,
Kickstarter.
they were just like a reward for supporting us for Kickstarter pledges, which
Yeah. So yeah, once the new shop payment methods are in there and live, then that's gone.
Hmm.
We will never again be selling cash. So really, the idea is that the uh, the shop online, things that you spend real money on, is not going to be anything that gives you an advantage. It's always going to be cosmetics. So that's why when it comes to pets, you're not going to get different pet functionality. You're just going to get
Yeah.
different cosmetics.
Mhm.
Oh, good. Good to clarify that. Very nice.
It's
But
also worth noting that the cash that you can get from those packages that are currently on sale is pretty insignificant. Like you might have a small advantage over other players with
yeah,
the money you get from that, but like beyond like a day of gameplay, like it's not gonna be
yeah, the idea
meaningful.
the idea of it is exactly that. So now what makes it good is that that cash is claimable once on each server that you play on. So if you
Yeah,
go to a new
Hmm.
server you've never played on, having a few $1,000s in the bank right off is going to make your start a little more comfortable than it would be without it.
absolutely.
But yeah, like you said, like after you've been playing for a little while, it's going to normalize. It's going to make the very first bit more comfortable. That's what it's going to do. But it does give you that bit of comfort on every server you go on. So
Oh, for sure. And last minute entry, we got Jade, one of our modelers, on the Discord. How's it going, dude?
Hello.
Hey, pop it in. We'll have you on for Thursday. Thanks again for volunteering, dude. Means a lot.
Welcome.
And yeah, the gang's all here, kind of. Been a while since we had both identity founders in here.
yeah,
So
I'm
yeah,
not usually sitting in this room between you guys, so I don't normally hear these things going on, so I don't join in. But
I know you've
yeah,
been working a lot with Archer today, especially on the UI stuff, as
I
well
wouldn't
as
say I've been working with him. He's been helping me. I've
uh,
been doing nothing for him.
uh, website stuff. Yeah. So you said that we're going to be using the new site to really try and show off what the game is made of. Will there be a specific page exclusively for this insider then, like the corporation page?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
fact, you're going to get to it from the same source page. You're going to go to info. You're going to see a button in his given category. It's going to open up a new page with a bunch of
Yeah, we'll try to cover the entire game design document with these insiders, so that you can just from head to toe you can understand exactly what identity is, just from reading about it on our website. Because right now we definitely understand that you can't really learn a whole lot just from reading about identity on the website unless you go and ask like 100 different people that all have heard that information from different sources.
Yeah,
So we're
and
at,
it's all like you said, it's all hearing it secondhand too. I mean, it's like
yeah.
the telephone game. Chances are people are gonna have some pretty messed up information. So this makes you have a source that's reliable. And like yeah, on that note, I think right now a lot of you people, what you know of the game is probably what you see in the old Kickstarter overview video.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the only real summary that's out there. And see, the thing is, when we did that video, we went into it with a different mindset, the wrong mindset.
Absolutely.
And we talked about the sandbox elements, but we didn't talk about the core gameplay because Identity has, I mean, so it is a sandbox for RP because RP is a big part of it, but at the same time, it has really fun, like emergent gameplay that you're going to experience. Like the game itself is just wicked fun. And we didn't really go into the details of what makes it so cool like that. Like literally just fun to play in that video. So a lot of the people see that and they think, "Oh, look, it's like playing Sims online," but it's so much more than that. It's more like playing Sims Grand Theft Auto Payday,
Hmm.
like it or even more than that even.
Yeah, a lot of the people that I talk to about identity also, they've seen like the housing video and they think that it's basically The Sims. They don't even know about the fact that you can join a gang and get into a war with another gang and go to prison. All they see is that housing customization content and they think, oh, that's basically Second Life. So yeah, it'll be great to show people just how much more there is to identity than just housing customization and just social features.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. I mean, so much of this game is okay, like what I'm trying to get at is like you see things like the housing, and that's really cool. Like our housing system is freaking awesome. Like
Yeah.
Sean was playing around with it a little bit today with customizing his apartment, and it's really cool. But what really makes it cool isn't just the awesome feature in itself, it's the fact that you're doing this in a real world with hundreds of people there, and your apartment has actual purpose. You know what I mean? Like it's your storage, it's where you keep the things that you own, it's where you show off, the cool stuff that you've collected. And there's a lot of functionality inside the apartment. So the apartment customization is awesome, but when you consider that that's just one little piece in this big world. I mean, there's so much more to it.
Yeah, for sure. Like usually when I approach people about identity and they ask what it is, it's very easy to open up saying something generic like, oh, it's kind of like a cops and robbers MMO, but there's so many intricate features that have a lot of depth to them, like the housing system, as you just mentioned, the social interactions. It's hard to really define it, and it's going to be super exciting when we finally get the first piece out, Town Square. It's really incredible. So we have about a minute left. We'll try and take one more question, and then we will wrap it up. I suppose the final thing I'd like to ask, John, since you're here, uh, at the end of the last gameplay stream, you did mention something about a video. Will this be a sort of feature video for the having media up on the Steam page when that goes up. That's what I've been assuming, but I'd love to get some input on that in terms of what you want to do with that.
So okay, yeah, the video that we're talking about, that is a general idea. When we have Steam up on the, or when we have Identity on the Steam shop, which will be fairly soon. Um, in fact, you're not even far away from getting your keys on the website and everything to get the
Ooh.
game on Steam. When this happens, um, we need to have a video there that represents the town square. Because right now, the only videos that are really out there are kind of showcasing Identity as a whole. But we can't have those videos being the head runner on that shop page where people are going to buy the town square expecting it to be the full game. So yeah, that has to be out definitely before the Steam release. And it will likely be out fairly soon. It's something that we're going to be putting a lot of our attention into quite soon.
Excellent. Yeah, it'd be great to see more media. Video content certainly sticks, as we all know. It's probably one of the easiest things to share. And even the eventual transition into the video dev blogs is going to be really exciting. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait until we hit that point. So, yeah, thank you to all of you guys for helping answer questions. It's nice to have the gang here, Motown and Pradas. Also, Jade popping in for his special debut here last minute. We'll see you Thursday, dude. And of course, thank you to the moderators for help showing up to help answer questions. You guys rock. And Mark for doing this awesome UI stuff. The syringe is really
Yeah.
coming along, dude. It looks
We
great.
got we ended up with a cigar, and we ended up with a syringe.
Awesome, yeah.
That goes to say what kind of game this is, right? When those are
The
the
drugs is a
put
big
together,
is a big part for sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, thanks so much, guys. The next time we'll be live will be, of course, Thursday with Jade. Same time, same place, 4 to 5 Eastern time. And yeah, I suppose that's about it. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next time.
Okay.
Right. Have a good night, guys.